for a period of time that the medics will require so that you can go back to your normal work. Yeah, so someone gets frustrated because I remember last year in 2020, in March, people who were in quarantine centers, because then there were few, there was space for them. They kept calling saying, but I'm fine, I can't even speak. Why am I here? People were very frustrated. They had things, they had business to finish. So it is even now. People have a lot of frustration, boredom, you know, sitting in a center, you have things to do, you have a family, you know, you have work, but you're in a center just seated there doing nothing. So it brings boredom. Sometimes there are inadequate supplies, lack of information. Remember, maybe you do not have, you're the one who is the family provider, you're the breadwinner, and you're the one who is, again, in quarantine or in isolation. And the supplies may not be enough. Maybe the family might be lacking all that. It can lead to financial loss. It can lead to fear of rejection. Just near where I stay, one of my friends had COVID-19, but of course we did not know then, but later on she told us after 2 weeks, but the good thing she had isolated herself. But because of that, she feared meeting us again, because even when she is fine, you know, she had self-stigma. She feared to be rejected, you know. So sometimes colleagues can feel, people come back to the office, come back to the community, and ability, and someone, because of too much thoughts, you lose sleep. It leads to loneliness. Some people feel like they are trapped, you know, they are trapped somewhere. And it can lead to bad behaviors, such as use of alcohol and other drugs. Why? Because someone is trying to cope, unfortunately, in a negative way and making everything worse. It can also cause physical reactions such as headache and other body pain. That is just the physiological reaction of what someone is going through. So now, having shared about some of the effects that happen to people out there when people are in isolation and or in quarantine, we would love to see how can we manage, because yes, usually a problem is big, but can anything be done? What can you do when you're in this state? Because we have already accepted, right from where the pastor started, isolation and quarantine is not for a bad reason. It is for a good reason. But because this is a changing normal, we are only adopting, we are only learning. And it's normal to feel some of the things, because even the health workers themselves tell us that they go into anxiety even when they know the symptoms of COVID. How much more someone who is not medical, who does not know anything, to talk about some coping skills in this situation. I know that when we come to questions, people supplement and so on, but we'll talk about what we can, and others will come up with other ways that help you better, as long as they are positive. Of course, we looked at various people. We looked at the health workers. I know that our health workers are overwhelmed. They are overwhelmed because, I mean, they are the one in the middle of this, the frontline workers, and unfortunately, we have lost many of them. So just imagine that because they are dying of the same disease, they lose hope. So when they lose hope, what happens to the rest of us? We will lose more hope because, I mean, the people who are supposed to help us are losing hope. So we are looking at the health workers, the patient, the person who is isolated, the caretakers at home, and even the general public. So for health workers, would love to say that one, it is normal to feel experienced. So when you feel it, do not think that you're not doing your job well, or you don't know what you're doing. It's normal because you are 100% a human being. Just like I'm also a counselor, I also get anxiety when I meet someone with COVID. The truth is, I want to take precaution because, I mean, I'm not God, I'm fully human. So it's a normal experience for us sometimes to feel some tension, some pressure, and so on. And also Only issue is it's good to monitor looking at how you're feeling so that you don't go into intense. When you feel it's making you, for example, you're failing to perform, you're failing to work, you're failing to wake up, to go to duty, please find professional support. I know even when you're a medical worker, you might know the medicine, you understand COVID better, but you know psychological illness will affect your physical activity. When you're not well psychologically, you, your performance will be very low, like irritable. So when you realize that it's affecting professional health, or support from your fellow workers, or support from a psychologist who is near you, and naturally, we are not taught, our friends in the Western world, I think this is taught from childhood, we are not taught to monitor how we feel. We usually do not take into consideration if you're feeling sad, are you able to notice? If you're anxious, are you able to notice? I know that I've ever felt anxious, and I had to first sit down and say, what is happening? Because I started getting nauseated, I started getting headache, I felt like I wanted to vomit. But the truth is I had anxiety. Okay? Are you irritable? It's good to notice how you're feeling. Take note of, tell someone you can confide in it. Today I'm not feeling well. Let the person ask you some questions. How can I help you? You know, so that you're not alone. Every time you feel you are alone, you keep sinking deeper and deeper. And a health worker who is not, if your health is not okay, you will not serve your patients very well, and you will not take care of good, you will not take good care of yourself and even of the patients. Have adequate sleep, much as you are working so hard to save others. Have adequate sleep, and also engage in physical activity, stay in contact with friends and family, have a healthy diet, make good use of digital connections. We now have WhatsApp. I know we are in isolation, but you can still use digital connection. Use other strategies. We all know ourselves. You know yourself better than any other person. I'll tell you that for me, if I'm in a room where there's good music, Christian music in the background, it will soothe my, my mental health. I'll feel much better. You know, for you, you know yourself better. Now, please, like we said, sometimes these things throw us into negative coping strategies, like taking alcohol, tobacco, you know, all this. I've worked with clients, I work with students, and sometimes they tell me that for me to cope with this, I have to take a lot of alcohol so that I can feel much better. And they even emphasize that when I take that thing, when I eat weed, I begin getting cool, I cope. But in the long run, they are postponing a problem. So this will an underlying problem which will come up without you knowing. So use better coping strategies. My colleague will come in with another with another set of people, but let me speak about the people who are now in isolation centers or in quarantine. How about you, who is at home there in a quarantine, in an isolation center? You feel you're disconnected, right? Yes, it is true. It is normal, like I say, to feel like that. But you have to be intentional to remember that this is just because of prevention. Okay? And so it's good for you to stay connected to your social network. Have a personal daily routine. I don't know about your daily routine. For me, I would say maybe I'm going to wake up and maybe read a nice book, and maybe speak to someone, maybe do some exercise that can rhyme with my health, because we are different. Because I will not tell you go and run, go and do this, but a doctor will advise you what is good for you. But at least have a routine, have something that waking up, looking forward to something. You know, one of the things that we need in life is hope. Someone said water for some days. You can stay without that is very necessary in our lives. I know of a girl who was, I think, in an oxygen. She was on oxygen, but she would be able to And what she was typing to her friends was this: "You go and withdraw my money, 800,000, and buy a very nice, buy some things for my funeral, and buy a very nice dress for me. And then you see my daughter, you buy her nice dress, buy her shoes." Imagine, this is what someone who is on Oxygen is writing. The person is already losing hope. Every time we lose hope, our lives get off much faster than usual. So having something you look forward to, having hope that you will be fine, because the good news is at least the biggest percentage. So pay attention to your own feelings, engage in health activities that you enjoy, like I said. Avoid listening to rumors and hearsays that make you feel worse. Please, even when you're in a quarantine center, do not open every message that is coming about how many people have died. Instead, only read information from official places like World Health Organization, MOH, health workers, and so on. Read messages that are going to uplift you, and also take care of your body, eat well, do exercise, take enough rest, take fluids, water. Avoid alcohol as much as possible. Every time you have an illness, alcohol and drugs make everything worse. And seek help when needed. Call a counselor or a pastor or a colleague. Avoid comparing yourself to others, because perspective is important. Comparison is not helpful. In most cases, we keep saying, but so and so died, I'll also die. You are not the same. Like we said, our health is different depending on how we make up. So I'm going to end this here first, and I will invite Gilbert to speak about the other part. Then we'll conclude, and then later on the moderator will come in to do the questioning part. So Gilbert, please, you're welcome. I think I can move this.
Thanks so much, Evelyn. And as maybe you will help me continue and scroll down. Help me continue scroll down. Yes. Thanks so much about
Gilbert, can I leave this other one and you use it?
caregivers. Yes, leave it. Hello? Yes. So I want to talk about caregivers now, also in isolation centers, but also in our homes where we might be isolated. We need people to take care of us. And here we are saying as caregivers, one, we need to have a list of contacts for our immediate help. So we need to know those enemy contacts, the phone call, and so forth. So you find you have to have a list of the contacts of the people that can give you services, of the people that can give you help just in case your client is not well. You should have a contact of the counselor, of a psychologist, of a pastor, and so on. So you should have all that within you. Then the next, you have to have gathered items that you need, like talk about face masks, talk about sanitizers, jigsaw, and so forth, and there's some kind of overalls they wear, and so that when you're trying to help this person, you need to have masks, you have to sanitize, you have to use jet, to follow all those SOPs as we have been guided by Ministry of Health, so that you avoid direct contact with the person. So you have to be prepared with everything. Then you also is well ventilated, very clean, has everything they need. Let it be water, let it be, it means swept and so forth, mopped. So you ensure that the patient's room is well ventilated, is clean and so forth. Like they are like any other human being. Like if they are not sick, then they would clean it for themselves. But now it is our role as caregivers to make sure we help them to have a clean room and with everything they would need. Then you have to have one caregiver always. Not everyone should enter at any time. Let it be that specific person that is probably taken through or oriented on how to handle this client with COVID-19. Let it not be everyone to come in, let the child or anyone. So we highly recommend that let this person be one who comes in at a time to check, to help, to give something, so that we reduce the risk of infection. Then keep the adequate soaps. And then take care of your emotional needs. Like also the caregivers, you need to take care of our emotional needs, because what we always see there might also affect us. So in the feeling, like what we always think about after meeting with our clients, let us be so much conscious, and they shouldn't override us. So we always need to take so much conscious of the clients. If you can scroll next to the general public, you find these people are within us, and some of them they even move out. For example, this morning I was sharing with my wife, and she was telling me how one of their workmates is infected, and then she was moving around, and she came by the office, and all people were fearing. So it happens that within the public, these people are there, and some of them have not even tested, but they're already infected. So as we found it necessary to also put this forward, like as we need to support the public, we need to support others that are worse than us. If you find there is somebody that has no help, because probably they are in their house, probably they have no food, probably they have nothing, probably even when we are looking at the sick, those that are sick, they are affected in one or another. Some are already in their houses and they have no food. These people in towns and so forth. So you find in here, if you're not sick, if you're not yet infected, you need to help someone out there. Check on the neighbor, find how they are doing. The elderly, make a donation, a prayer. So reach out to a friend, text how they are feeling. So it is always very important. Then practice social distancing and all other standard operating procedures as per the Ministry of Health guidelines. We need to practice that even in public, make sure we put on our masks, we social distance, and so many. We wash our hands. We always need to be examples. Let's not wait until we are sick or until we have someone close to us that is infected, and then we start practicing those. And then you share positive information, videos with friends. This is very, very important. Instead, there are some videos that sometimes people share on WhatsApp and so other kinds of media. And you open a video and yourself, you get shocked and you almost fall down. So it is always important that at this point, you need positive information that encourages us. Reading, well, there are some funny videos can be comedy and so forth that can make someone laugh, especially the friends that you know what they like. Share with them those. Don't share so bad. And be empathetic. Like feel what someone is feeling. Like if you were them, just put yourself in the shoes of someone, like if you were that person, what else would you have done? How would you have, we become empathetic, then we'll be in position to help these people better. And being empathetic doesn't mean we sympathize with them, but we try to see if it was me or if it were me infected. If it were me isolated in this room for all this long, what would I be feeling? Now, if you put yourself in the shoes of someone else battling with no food, even when they're isolated, you can even donate a bunch of matoke. You can even donate a kilo of sugar and so forth. So you find we need to put ourselves in the shoes of these people, and and then we minimize watching and listening to news that cause us anxiety. So sometimes, like yesterday, I was meeting. I was in the field where I work, and I met a group of people. They were like, "Now you people, you're moving around. You are the ones who are going to bring us the COVID," and yet they were all gathered there in the community without tensing, without. So you find sometimes people, they start sharing news that is negative, or they watch such videos, as I said earlier, that is so negative that take fear among the people. So we always need to minimize that and listen to news that can put some positive mood in us. Listen to news about the people that have healed. Listen to news that about prayer. We pray, we do everything, but avoiding listening. Then information from recognized sources, as my colleague earlier said. So we need to always tap on information that is from recognized spaces. It can be from Ministry of Health, it can be from hospitals and so forth, but not anything that is posted on Facebook, on WhatsApp, so that we follow it. Sometimes it can drain us. Someone is posting so many people a day, can motivate us, can the public, it can drain the public, and they speak anything they feel within the community, and you find the whole community they have wrong information about COVID-19. Lastly, is avoid labeling COVID patients as victims. Always separate them. We need to separate this from the disease. So we need to avoid such labeling them like that is even if someone is passing by. Do not tell a friend that this is a COVID patient, right? You don't need to label them. Even when they are healed, you are like, this is the one who had COVID. So such labeling can put their mood so low, so down, and it can even affect them psychologically, as we are saying. So we always need to respect each and everybody, that even if you are sick, but once you're healed, you cannot infect any other person. You can be among others, but as long as we are following the standard operating procedures. But even when you are in quarantine, so we don't need to label you that this is a patient who had COVID. I mean, this is someone who had COVID-19 or has COVID-19.